What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Excellent Podcast. I'm your cinematic host, STEFON WHITAKER, the head honcho of SW Films. And tonight, we have a very, very, very special guest. I just want everyone to know who's listening and watching this podcast. The person that you're seeing on the other side of me is my best friend of all time, my brother. Literally grew up with this man from I want to say maybe first or second grade.
First grade.
Crazy, man. Dude has been there along a lot of the biggest times of my life and the darkest times of my life and vice versa. And I'm so happy to have my friend, Mr. Dylan Belcher, on the podcast today. Dylan, how are you doing, man? How are you doing in this nighttime look in Indiana right now?
I'm doing amazing. The weather is finally breaking. So it's hitting around 60, 59 at night now. So it's nice, man. The summer is quickly fading away, as we all know in the Midwest. The weather changes from summer to winter instantly. But it's going good, man. I'm in my beautiful apartment pavilion. I got the fireplace behind me. So I'm in a peaceful state of mind.
I'm about to say, this dude has a wild ass romantic look right now on his side in Indiana. But man, I'm so happy to have you on here, man. It really is something that I've been wanting to do. I've had a lot of different people that I've interviewed over the years, actually, even outside of the Excellent Podcast, just back before when this podcast was the vlog channel. I had so many different people on here that I interviewed, and I knew that eventually I was going to get close to where I could start to interview my real close friends and talk to them about their businesses and everything that they're doing. So for the people who may not know Dylan or may not know yourself, man, go ahead just and explain who you are and what you do, and just speak to your excellence.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, STEFON, thank you for having me on this podcast, man. One of your many first guests and many more to come in the future. So big shout out to you and what you've been doing. But anyways, yeah, name's Dylan Belcher, born and raised Angola, Indiana, 26 years age right now. But yeah, I'm the current founder and owner of CARTT Delivery based out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Also very passionate in fitness and also I would say meditation. That's a big thing in my life now. So, but yeah, that's alongside growing up with STEFON in Angola, small town, lake community, going through, your typical upbringing, childhood friends right around the block. Yeah. Always going over, hanging out, our perspectives rubbing off on each other's as young kids. And, I've always told you, STEFON, we always kind of kept that same type of journey, different paths, but we've all had our checkpoints along the ways. But it seems like we always kind of end up meeting at some type of checkpoint in life. Oh, yeah. And it all seems to kind of flow nice and easy with you and I as we age and as we progress. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about my background. Absolutely.
For sure, man. For everyone listening, man, I want to give Dylan his flowers right now because we're gonna have a really nice conversation today. But I want to give Dylan his flowers because for a lot of people who know me and a lot of people who look to me for inspiration or motivation or just they see a lot of the cool shit that I post, the wins and the celebrations and the success, whatever. I really have to say, man, that Dylan was one of the first people to really influence me in those types of realms of be a better version of yourself in times. Me and Dylan played football together. And I remember, Dylan, it was you that I think that actually convinced me to play football in 8th grade. I remember that.
Yeah, you're a big ass kid, man. I was like, STEFON has to play football. All of us buddies are playing. You were the only one not playing with us.
Right. Yeah. So I never exactly. I never grew up in middle school or elementary school really interested in football or wanting to play football. And then after once middle school was getting ready to end for us, 8th grade, I was like, I'm gonna have to do this. And Dylan influenced me to do that. Even further on, when it came to just playing football and then figuring out what we wanted to do after college, of course, everyone knew that I wanted to do film, but I think even after college, it was Dylan was so big into the business world and figuring out more about these corporations, figuring out more about how entrepreneurs run. And truthfully, as soon as I graduated from college in 2016, I learned so much from you, Dylan, just about all these different kinds of things I never would have known about certain entrepreneurial aspects, like I learned about Gary Vee from you, and everybody loves Gary Vee. I learned about him from you. I learned about all these different kind of situations with certain tech companies and their business dealings and certain terms like SEO and all this other kind of like complicated shit from you. And I just want to say thank you, man, for those influences that you brought, because those have definitely like have rubbed off and stuck as far as just like the business aspect and just like keeping a level head and trying to get better every step of the way. I gotta credit that to you, man. So I
appreciate it, man.
I thank you for that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's crazy that you mentioned that, because as like we've always talked about on the side and in public and with other groups of friends, we've grown up together, gone through these stages of life. And, me being in college for a short stint, leaving, dropping out of college and kind of going through like, that short young life crisis, trying to figure out, what's the next step, what to do, what to try out. And, business always, kind of had a passion in my back end. I've always been interested in businesses, how things ran, and how businesses are ran on the back end was the kind of biggest interest I had.
For sure.
That's that kind of influenced the whole movement, me wanting to just try stuff.
Definitely, man. And that's what we're going to get into. I want to start off the interview just by kind of starting from the beginning a little bit, man. Like, so as Dylan mentioned, earlier, me and Dylan literally lived Dylan lived right around the corner. We lived right around the corner from each other back in Angola. It's crazy. Like, it was kind of wild because, from then, man, I forget how it might have came together. I think, like I said, I seen you at maybe like a fucking recess or something. And then that next thing you know, I'm like, who's this big-headed white kid, And then we just got together like that, man. And then you came over to the crib. And literally it was like, we bonded through playing video games, and just like, also my brother would always play like Wu-Tang and shit around us, and always, Roosevelt, shout out to Roosevelt, just a whole bunch of experiences that we had with our friend groups too. You know what I mean? Shout out to the guys, the Brandons, Troy, people in that main friend group. But for you though, I want to start from the beginning. And when I mean by the beginning, I mean specifically the beginning of us kind of growing up and having to be on our own and kind of learn through our own life lessons, we'll call it, which I would say would be after high school necessarily. So for you, man, like football was a pretty big passion for you. That was a big passion really for all of us, I think, at a time. Like I really, like during high school, I became a passion for me where I thought I almost wanted to play college football, but I just knew that it wasn't kind of in the books for me. But for you went to the University of Findlay, Ohio, and you were on the football team. And I just want to kind of talk about how did the football passion kind of lead and then change into entrepreneurship for you? Because it changed not quickly, but it took a little bit of time. It took that entire college stint, almost the 2 years at least. Like, how did that transition happen?
I think that transition happened, some pretext of that, before arriving to Findlay and, being on the official college football team, at the Division II level, so to say that at least. But before that, I think, what sprung my mindset was about, end of junior year of high school, around that, winter time of junior year. And I started, asking my personal mind, my own conscious, what was I going to do after school? What kind of was my plan? Of course, I had my parents chime in here and there, but I started to kind of think a little bit early. And I definitely always wanted to be different. I didn't want to be, just a normal kid, graduating high school and just going to college for 4 years and getting a job. I wanted to, have some type of involvement somewhere and be, and kind of be held, on a pedestal, so to speak, back then. My mindset was. So I thought, my physical stature and things I was able to work towards, I thought football was an avenue I could express that. And will have a passion for football, especially back then, being an 18, 17-year-old kid and just want to excel in something and train towards something and do hard stuff to eventually get some type of end result. So yeah, that was my mindset pre-college. Once arriving there, I'm like, I think that's the first time it kind of hit my head, like, okay, I've arrived here, but never really had a plan after arriving, so to speak. I kind of just viewed as getting to college as like my end goal.
Yeah, right.
I feel like most kids go through that. I feel like most kids just get there and they're like, oh, fuck, I have all this free time and I can do whatever I want. And there's not really no one watching over my shoulder. So, there's not really a plan in motion once you step foot on, on a whole other state, whole other city with whole other kids, girls, coaches. It's all new. It's all foreign to you. So, but yeah, I would say that mental shift in my mind of wanting to do or be interested in entrepreneurship and business was just the sole fact of just simply, trying to strive at football, with all the training and off season work and then lifting weights. I've found like a love and passion just trying to get better, at the end of the day.
For sure, man, because, it's interesting, man. Like when we all went off to college, man, it was literally, I remember, I was going to Full Sail. So I was going to Florida. I was going the furthest, I think, out of our friends, obviously, from going to college, left a few different states over, to go out to college. And then you went to Findlay. And then I think Troy went to not Mississippi, Minnesota or some shit. And then the Brandons didn't go to college. But for you, though, I remember when I was in college, there was a point, man, where I was like going through school and, during that senior year of high school, I was really, really, really fucking invested and ready to go off to film school. Like I was ready. I was trying there. That was like the number one thing I was ready for. I was excited for. I look back at all these posts that I posted back in 2011, 2012, or something like, not 2012, but yeah, 2013. Those right when we were getting ready to go off to college, it was around 2014. I was so ready for that. And then when I was in it, I was obviously doing my thing and I obviously wanted all the friends to do well. I remember making posts about you and Troy going off to college and all this kind of shit, giving support. But then I remember going on Snapchat. I said it in a song one time. For the people who go back and look at, they go back and look at the song called YDMD, Your Dream, My Dream. I remember saying something about going on Snapchat and being disappointed, seeing some of my friends do dumb shit. I remember you going on Snapchat, seeing you guys do stupid shit back.
Oh, I'm sure, but back then,
and I'd be disappointed. And then obviously it kind of led me, I think, to finding out eventually that you had eventually left college and stuff. And I want to talk about that for you. Obviously you dropped out of college, you dropped out of Findlay. How did that change? First of all, what led to that? And then how did that change you as a person? Because I mean, dropping out of school, as you said, is, kind of going off to college and then only looking at college as that destination and the end goal and not really having an idea of what was next. I would imagine that probably was a complete change of life and change of emotions and everything. How did that affect you?
Yeah, it was a shock. I feel like most, I'd say there's a good split amongst kids who get shocked once they arrive somewhere, at their college or their end goal that they had envisioned their mind in high school or post high school. Some kids are, have that sheltered mindset, they'll go through the whole process and, what end result they get to, that's that. But for me in particular, I think the biggest thing that kind of changed and kind of shocked me was just, again, not having that no plan in place. I think I was kind of walk around empty-minded and next day type of mindset. And I'd say a weak mindset. I'd say that's the first time of being, kind of question my own abilities of what the heck I was doing. That'd be the biggest thing, was just having a weak mindset and not having a forward motion plan of, what was my steps, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 in college.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I mean, because dropping out of college, it's funny, man. And I remember we had a conversation about it because I felt like it kind of changed our perspectives a little bit, as far as how we looked at college at the time, because myself, I've been pretty sure in my immediate family, I've been the first one to go to college. I think Roosevelt had went to college for a while, but then stopped. I think mom did too. I'm pretty sure dad probably didn't. But I just know that I was the one to go through and graduate, and I'm pretty sure my mom did the same thing. I don't know. For mom, dad, Roosevelt, everybody watching, I'm sorry if I completely don't know that story inside of it. But regardless, I graduated from college, and how we looked at college was we looked at college a lot. How I don't know, we felt like college was super important.
We thought it was a big thing where we were gonna look back and see, ex teachers and friends and our parents or family, just all celebrating that, hey, we got to college or we graduated college, and that was like biggest thing to grab onto back then. It seemed like,
and it still kind of is today. And most days, like I feel like a lot of people in America specifically treat college as like it's a fucking necessity, which maybe, I guess, depending on what your degree, what you want to do for your career, I guess. But like for me personally, like film school was something I didn't need to do, but I felt like in terms of just like my network and my experience and my knowledge, and regardless of how much the fucking shit was, like it still was very important. But I mean, I'm sure obviously your family had probably thought the same thing too. Like they want you to go to college and get through it. Like how did?
Oh, absolutely. Like I was like in my immediate family, I'd be the first one. My dad went to school for 3 years actually at Tri-State, pre-Trine, but and he was very smart, and he just, I think walked out there kind of with not kind of what I went through, but more of, just kind of help out his family on other stuff that came up. But yeah, in my family, I was the first one to come out and like, playing sports on a scholarship and going through that process initially. So yeah, it was like,
how did that news of you dropping out, like how did that, like, do you remember like the time and moment, I guess, when you had to like tell your mom and dad about that?
Yeah, you know what? It was so strange. Like I remember around that time frame, like it was maybe 2015. Yeah, I'd say 2015, like almost like I'd say early springtime 2015-ish. And I went to I remember I stopped kind of going to class. I came home for a couple consecutive weekends, and then I remember heading down to PCB for spring break for my freshman year. And I remember just coming back on that in a road trip with a car full of idiots back then. And then I just didn't want to go back. I was just like, what's the point? And I think, also mixed in with some relationship issues that was going on, and just my own, I'd say, early life crisis of just like, oh my God, who am I? What am I doing? And why am I, at this school in Ohio? So that's, all these things kind of rushed in my head, and I just did not go back. And how that affected my parents, I'd say on my mom's side, she was just confused what was going through my head, what I was trying to do or get out of. Whereas my dad was just like, hey, this was like, I thought the obligation we made, hey, I sent you all the training, you put through all this effort, why just leave, after first year. But it fractured, like kind of like, okay, but I think at that point, my parents were like, okay, he's off on his own. He's going to have to figure things out. And as a 19-year-old, he's going to figure things out and go through probably some rough patches to maybe hopefully, go down one of those two roads that we talked about, STEFON. It's like, a lot of kids, they go through school, they have that shelter protective, shield around them, so to speak. They get through school, they get their job, and then they settle down. Life's good, or, good for them, so to speak. For me, or for people who drop out, it's like you get home and it's like there's really only two roads you can take. You can stay around your hometown, around the same people you grew up with, and just slowly digress and get settled into I would say at the bottom tier of the food chain, so to speak. And you really never know you're there until your death, or unless you have someone that really loves you, really is a great friend that tells you, hey, you should be doing more with your life. So yeah, I would say coming back home, I regressed back into that soft mindset of just, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow and just kind of figure things out as they come by, and just pick up jobs whereas need be for money. So, but yeah, it was a big learning process. I'm sure the people out there watching this and dropped out after, one full year, or maybe just one semester, maybe some of those kids or some of those people are going through it, but it's a process.
Yeah, man. Cause I mean, I think, like I said, like college to me at the time when I was in college, like it felt important for sure. And I felt like there's no way I feel like I could drop out. One, I don't even know how many miles away from home, but like,
you're down in Florida all the way back up to Indiana. Like there was no escape for you.
there's no escape, man. It's like, I got to go through it. And like Full Sail was one of those.
by the way, Stefan, like I want to
Yeah.
chime in real quick. I think one of my issues too, because I had other options of schools to go further away from home. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I should have took that initiative to just break away from anything that was, you know, on my shoulders or on my side at that time from Angola, other than my family, and just detach from it all and should went to a further away school where, you know, that trip home was harder, you know, maybe 5 or 6 plus hours instead of, you know, an hour and 45 minutes. So
Yeah, that's true. That could really change something, because I mean, definitely the how far the distance is makes it, you know, you kind of start to think like, damn, if you really care about like how it affects your family, you know, that have like, if obviously if you leave and if they're the only people that can kind of get you and console you and get you back to home and back to a comfort zone that you're used to, it can be kind of like difficult for them to have to go drag their ass all the way. Like, if that's basically like me saying like to my mom, like, hey mom, I can't do this California shit no more. You know, I'm gonna have to drive 2-3 days home to get back to Indiana. It's just like, nah, I can't do that, you know, but not necessarily for them, but for myself, you know, and that's why, you know, that's why I couldn't be in that position. But for you though, with that happening, you know, I just remember it kind of switched. I remember the idea and importance of college kind of switched maybe in your mind a little bit, as far as like college is not needed, or college is, you know, there's a certain kind of look at college that is sort of negative. I remember that kind of happened after that shift. And I remember back in the day, I used to think, damn, maybe you feel like that because you had left. But then I kind of think about it and I kind of understand the difference, because I mean, I definitely have a certain look at college. Like, I definitely don't think college is always needed to be successful. To be successful, I don't think it's not needed to be successful. Yes, like you got to have a degree to do certain jobs, but like at the very end of the day, we know a lot of people in our lives, like shout out to Brandon Spalding. He doesn't have a degree and he's doing amazing things. Same with Brandon Akers, doing amazing things. Same with Troy. You know, Troy kind of had a similar situation where he didn't finish college, but is still doing amazing things. Like, you don't need to be in that type of infrastructure to be successful. But at the very same time, the one thing about college that fucks people up, and I see this happen all the time, is that people, you know, we grew up in school for almost what, 13, 14, 15 years of our lives, usually. Sometimes, like, I think it's like a 13-year type of situation when it comes to like being through preschool to all the way to, you know, senior year or whatever. And people get so comfortable in that type of structure because that's all that we have. But then college comes around, you add in another 4 years or even less or even more than 4. And then basically when you leave that infrastructure, if you haven't dealt with enough comfortability in yourself and comfortability in your positions in life and your career and other sorts of things, just life shit, it makes it very tough for people to be out of that infrastructure, where people crumble when they get dealt with the real fucking world. You know what I mean? Because the real world is an educational moment in itself, but it is nothing like a public. Well, it's more like a public school than a private school, but it's nothing like school. It's nothing like school. Like it's different. You know, real life is a harder teacher than fucking school is. So, when you dropped out though, I mean, what was the next plan for you? Like, obviously it was I would assume getting back to Angola, but like, what was your initial thoughts moving forward after that? Like, did you have a plan at all set? Like, when did you make your plan?
No plan set. I would say once I arrived back home in, you know, that mid March of 2015, I was just like, you know, whoa, you know, like, what am I doing? So I'm like, no, obviously I need a job. So I picked up a job at a local factory in Angola, or a warehouse, and, you know, just started, you know, at least working to get money, because, you know, at that time, you know, I can't bug mom and dad for money because, hey, you just dropped out of college, you know, you're kind of, you know, you're responsible for yourself financially. You know, still had a place to live, you know, my parents' house, did not have to pay rent, thankfully, or anything like that, but still had to, you know, get money. So at that point, that was my first time having, you know, a full-time job, because, you know, going through high school, I never really had a job. You know, I worked part-time like junior year at Applebee's for some weekend money, and they hang out with you and stuff and getting with the guys. But yeah, I'd say there was no plan in place once I came home. It was just kind of like getting a job and figuring stuff out and just going through like the rough young life patches, and just trying not to end up too far down that dark road of negatives and setbacks and hanging out too long and too much of the wrong people. Because I definitely ventured down that. I would say I have in my young life right now, being just turned 26, I would say I've ventured enough down that deep road of like darkness, so to speak. Everyone has their own perspective, their own dark path in life, but I'd say I took enough steps into it to realize, hey, this plate's super hot. I need to get the fuck out of here and switch and adjust my gears and try to figure out, or just be aware enough to another perspective in life, either, entrepreneurship or fitness, just something to open my mind to something else other than the current path I was on. So there was no path when I came back home. It was just trying to figure stuff out. And, thankfully now 5-6 years later, it's, I'm definitely down a much better and successful path than then I started off with.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's cool. I want to talk more about like the down the dark path, or with the wrong people, at least, right? Mm-hmm. Now, for a lot of people who are probably going to be listening and watching this podcast, there's going to be a lot of people that we probably know personally from Angola, Indiana. And for me, I've definitely have always. There's been a lot of things that I've seen from people in general, and then it too, because we've talked about it a lot. I always mention it. There's a lot of shit I've seen from people back in those times. Now is different. Currently now, there could be different. There's definitely differences with people, but back then, I've always kind of been the type of person where I had a certain kind of mindset to where I'm trying to get the work done. I'm trying to do something with my life and make something of my time, and I'm not trying to fuck around and have and waste my time with parties and fucking these girls and all this kind of shit. It just wasn't. Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't part of my life. I delved into that a little bit when I was obviously out of college. Like, of course, I was still young, but at the same time, I knew what was important. I wasn't out here doing all that type of shit every single weekend, because it just didn't do anything for me. And there's a lot of people that we know growing up in high school that their lives really got ruined because of a lot of shit they did at that young age during that time when they were high schoolers and getting, after high school. We know a lot of people who are like that. And to me, I would say I used to have so much like resentment and just disdain for people of like who are in those who delve down that type of road. It just wasn't anything interested to me because, when you hang around those types of people, you're like a sponge. You soak in all that type of shit that they're doing and that they are, and it affects you, and it turns you into there's that whole meme. I'll probably put it up on the screen here, but there's a meme of like the rotten apple hanging around a bunch of fresh apples, and all the other apples get rotten too, or some shit. I remember seeing some meme that's like that I've seen, and I'm like, yeah, there's so much truth to that in real life, in reality. And I'm just like, nah, I always chose to stay away from those types of people. And, I think the type of people that come to mind right now, I think about, how have maybe their lives changed from my perspective in 2021. I think a lot of people have somewhat changed for the better. And then, there's people that we know that, man, they ain't fucking changed. Some people are never going to get out of that moment. Like you said, there's people who don't realize it until it's time to die. You know what I mean?
It's too late for most people once they realize it. They don't want to face the man in the mirror, so to speak.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes they don't realize that the person who's in their way of their success is that man in the mirror who they have to face. So for yourself, man, I mean, just getting yourself kind of around to doing your first venture, which is Quick Eats back in the day. And I forget when you start. When did you start Quick Eats? When did that? Was that like 2017? 2016.
Late 2016, like late summer 2016. Yep.
Yeah, because I was home for that. But you had started kind of early on, I think a little bit too. Because I remember seeing something I felt like when I was like still in college, like getting ready to graduate. And then Quick Eats was the first venture. But before we kind of get more in depth with Quick Eats, like I guess what with entrepreneurship, right? Like what was your first viewing of an idea or example of entrepreneurship? Because a lot of people some people still don't know what the fuck entrepreneurship really is. You know what I mean? A lot of people are stuck to this general consensus, or not general consensus, but general identification of what a job is, working for somebody, a 9-to-5 structure. I think that's what a lot of, people look at in terms of just, what a job is and what a job could be. But when it comes to working for themselves and being a boss, that usually isn't always thought of. I think it's being thought of more. But how did you get into wanting to take that step into being an entrepreneur?
Well, first off, I always had interest in, just in basic business and entrepreneurship, also like with technology and like, what was like, the next wave of businesses to come through. But I would say like, coming back from college and dropping out, I started watching like YouTube videos and people's vlogs and YouTube. And I started coming across like business vlogs and things like that. And I just started watching random videos and started coming across common names and just started kind of get my mind open up to fresh, a new train of thought towards, life, how to, potentially start a business or just attempt to try something. So at that point, I was, I forget what time and frame it was, but I was actually with Brandon Spalding and Daniel Soto back when they lived in St. Joe in Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're just bumming around, probably smoking weed, just hanging out and chilling back then.
Yeah.
We're just young and stupid. And we're all like talking about how about like food delivery in Angola, like kind of like, it's done through like a mobile app or website and customers can get food delivered. And we thought, hey, the lake gets really busy on Lake James and Crooked Lake. You could take advantage of all the people that have money that kind of stay in that area for, 3 to 4 months. So that's it kind of blossomed out of that little conversation. And I started poking my head around a little bit more. And then my eyes started to get bigger and bigger each little day because I'm like, oh, that's, this is something I could like just create out of nothing. And just like, I could leverage Facebook and social media and just talk about it and just message a bunch of people and see what happens. And then I started to figure out how to build a basic website, how to like, design post on Canva, just like, these little early stages of like mechanics in business of just attempting something and actually going out and like in exchanging, a good or service from just somebody and getting money or cash involved and taking that back in. So that was like the most interesting process, how I could just start something from nothing, sell it or market it, and then get cash and money and finances in return for it. So that kind of sparked my whole mindset for that.
No, definitely. Cause I can't even remember the time that you told me that you're going to start this job. I really don't even remember like how the conversation may have came up between you and I about it. But yeah, I do remember. Yeah, specifically. Yeah. At first it was you, Daniel, and Brandon doing it. Then eventually they weren't a part of it. Which of course, that was kind of interesting too. Cause I think you may have caught some beef there for a quick second.
Yeah, for sure. I think back then, I would say all of us involved were just like random in a thought process. Like I think we're just like wanting some quick money, and we thought running a business and being like a head honcho was a cool thing back then.
But with the idea of quick eats though, like how a lot of people sometimes like how kids, right? I guess I'll use this as an example. Like kids will do like a lemonade stand. And when they do a lemonade stand, which by the way, guys, me and Dylan did a lemonade stand way back in the day. It's the funniest shit ever, actually. It was hilarious because like,
that shit was $20. $20 we used to get like a pop for like, people come by all sweet, we're just a little kid selling lemonade and we get like $20-$30.
It was hilarious because like if you guys can imagine, like here's this little interracial friend group selling lemonade and shit. People in Indiana don't give a fuck about that. But if we would have did that interracial friendship selling lemonade somewhere a little bit more with more, I guess, more culture, we'll call it, we probably could have got more money. But ain't no. But my mom gave us the most money. My mom gave us the most money. I forget. I think she had $50 that she said y'all split this or some shit she did.
Yep.
Anyway, shout out moms. But no, the idea of a lemonade stand, kids will just set up a lemonade stand. Like they have an idea. They want to sell lemonade for an entire week or however long. And they just set up a lemonade stand, the basic way. You have your lemonade, you have your cups, you have your stand, have some shade, you have, a jar for some change, all that kind of stuff. But like, I use that as a general example of wanting to do like a hustle real quick. But what you were doing was more of a let's really turn this into a feasible business. Let's turn this into something that's a little bit more in the idea of the gig economy app style type things at first. What made you want to take it that way? Because if you say that it was more of like a let's get money, let's kind of get some quick money, I feel like it makes sense if it's like, in a smaller idea to make quick money. But when you want to do something at a certain scale, the quick money doesn't happen too easy. Like, what made you want to do it kind of like a bigger way than just like the general way of wanting to deliver food to people?
I think just basically research. I kept like reading articles about like the whole gig economy. I saw like these apps getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, hey, this might be like a big thing. Like hey, I want to ride this wave, and I have like a lot of interest towards it. So, little me back then, just by myself with a few drivers that I like contracted out. It was just in a process of doing and figuring out along the way, and realizing, this could be something potentially bigger. This could capture maybe the town's attention and could be like the mainstream thing of getting food delivered or hauled around Angola or the lakes. So back then, that was my mindset.
Not for sure. And I think, before DoorDash eventually made its way to Angola, I feel like that would have been a really cool idea. Obviously DoorDash is in Angola now, and DoorDash, I don't know how well DoorDash is in Angola, but still, I mean, it's there. It's an option for people now. And from what I've heard,
I saw like Waiter in the Wait in Fort Wayne. That kind of like inspired me a little bit. I'm like, hey, that's why is that around Angola? I feel like growing up in Angola, I feel like you have that same thought process, Stefan. It's like we always want to try to like drop some type of value back in our hometown and be recognized for something.
1,000.
So
absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, for sure. Always trying to drop value. Always trying to give something back. And yeah, we want to be known, right? Because that's the thing about Angola, man. And we'll probably delve into that a little bit later. But more just of how Angola is one of those places to where there's not really a staple, a person of interest or a thing of interest in Angola. I mean, the thing of interest, the activity of interest, would be the lakes probably, and maybe Trine. But when it comes to like how certain places have certain icons in their homes that are from their hometown, and like how there's like a Kendrick Lamar in Compton, or how there's a Eminem or Big Sean in Detroit, how there's a Kanye West or Lil Durk in Chicago, like, stuff like that. There's not, obviously Angola is nowhere near the size of any of those places I just named, but still, there's a lot of people who come from small ass towns who make something of themselves. I mean, shit, Michael Jackson from Gary, Indiana, Freddie Gibbs from Gary, and Mike Epps from Indianapolis. Those places are bigger than Angola too. But regardless, how did the switch of, well, first of all, what made you stop doing quick eats? What happened? Like, because quick eats didn't last too long. What happened with that?
No, it was like a half a year process. And I think like back again, it was more like a hustle, but also like, eventually I think that kind of opened my mindset for the first time. Like, business, wow, this can be like a long-term thing. But back then, again, even with quick eats, it was more just, hey, it's a hustle just for the summertime to get money, which I made, a little killing in the summertime, especially around the lakes. And it kept money in my pocket enough to do stuff and be mobile and do what I wanted to do.
Wasted on dumb shit.
Wasted on hella dumb shit. Like alcohol, parties, marijuana, you name it. The money was, I'll take the money in and the money go right back out the next few days. Either in shoes, clothes, you know how that went. But it was just money in my pocket. It was a hustle back then. But it definitely, the thing I got out of the whole process for half a year of doing that was, I have a lot of interest in business.
Yeah, exactly. And so built up knowledge. Yeah, built up your knowledge just based on it too.
Yeah, because I had to go off and create my own LLC as like a 19 almost 20-year-old kid. And like I had no idea about an LLC. I had to like Google that, research that. I'm like, I think I need that. So I applied for one, got it. And I remember my parents were like, when this whole like legal booklet this whole like legal thing shipped to my house from LegalZoom. My parents were like, you did that all by yourself? Like, how do you know about that? I'm like, I just researched it. Yeah. So I was just kind of constructing pieces, sometimes destructively, but I was kind of gluing together like, the early mechanics of business and trying to figure out what the hell to do, which it helped, it's the process of doing.
For sure. No, definitely. And then obviously the biggest switch, man, is where it's where it's all at right now, but it definitely still had went through such a long uphill battle. You eventually switched into CARTT. CARTT is, your main business, man. And I remember 2017 is when I think that was basically had launched. I remember back when I was living in it was grocery delivery. So the whole entire like theme of the business was completely different.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Fort Wayne to a bigger market and things like that.
Yeah, like that was it was crazy. And back when I was living in Indiana, I had my office and everything. And I remember, bro, you'd be over there every night. We'd be in there late night working. I'm editing, music videos or commercials or whatever I was doing. And then you were in there, kind of talking about some business plans. I've missed that office a lot because that office is where so many things
memories. A lot
my office, my office was literally the place where everybody's business got made. SW Films was made there. CARTT was made there. Fucking New Route was made there. Like everything was made in my office. So y'all owe me some money, low key. Some royalties just for the use of my fucking energy and space. I'm just playing. But CARTT, man, first of all, like after Quick Eats was done, I mean, what made you want to go into grocery delivery and what made you want to move that market into Fort Wayne? I mean, I feel like it's kind of simple and easy why you wanted to move to Fort Wayne, but I mean, guess what happened? What made it want to be grocery delivery?
I would say just doing more research, like in the space. Like I realized, like, hey, food delivery sucks. There's very tight margins, and at that time, I saw like DoorDash and Uber Eats getting bigger. I'm like, these companies have like, they're backed by, hundreds of millions of dollars by venture capitalists. So I'm like, this probably isn't the coolest space to be in. But I'm like, how about grocery delivery? And I started to think about that. And the process went to that. I'm like, that's a kind of more kind of similar approach to food delivery, but you're getting grocery orders. But I thought, I could just, instead of, individually picking out groceries, we just send shoppers to, to like Kroger, Walmart, Myers, and just have pickup orders that were placed on their websites and just have them picked up and delivered to the customer's house. Mm-hmm. So I thought, hey, that'd be a big market, I'm sure, in Fort Wayne of how big and quick it's getting. And all the grocery stores are located in Allen County. So, and at that time, also just wanted to get the hell out of my parents' house and do my own thing. So by any means, I didn't care what that meant. I just want to get out of my parents' house. At that age of 20, 21, you want to get out and do your own thing and start the process of living on your own officially and doing your own thing. So all that kind of combined got me to Fort Wayne, and then just also wanted to be in a bigger market and grow potentially what I thought was a bigger business than, what Quick Eats was in Angola.
For sure. Yeah, because CARTT, I mean, I just remember all the times that we, would be in the office and just talking about what the whole idea was going to be like, talking about what the logo is going to look like. And DoorDash, Dylan also introduced me to DoorDash too. Like I DoorDash a small amount sometimes whenever I'm not working. Basically, whenever I have days off, I'll DoorDash sometimes for like a couple hours or whatnot. And you introduced me to that and Shipped and everything like that. Instacart. Like I learned about all those different types of gig economy apps from you. I don't really remember a gig economy app that I had used probably prior to me graduating. Honestly, like I can't remember when Airbnb was created. But I think maybe you probably brought that to my attention too. I mean, the very first Airbnb I stayed at was with you in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But with CARTT kind of, going into grocery delivery, and obviously it was the idea of like, we looked at Instacart and Shipped as those being like the, I guess the kind of head to head top companies at the time that were doing grocery delivery. Obviously that kind of shifted the change from grocery delivery to now like on demand moving basically. Whatnot. But before we really get into the business aspect of it, like obviously you had teamed up with another good friend of mine, Justin Davis. Shout out to Mr. Justin Davis, who eventually will be on the podcast. Shout out to Justin sometime soon. You guys were in a partnership for a while in building the company. How did that even come together? Because I really don't even remember how you guys got together to even make CARTT.
Yeah, it was I think back in 2017ish, around that time when I was kind of wrapping up CARTT, but was making announcements or kind of whereabouts of people on Facebook about CARTT and what kind of I wanted to do with it. Yeah. At that time, I think Justin, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was selling like Cutco knives and stuff, and he was like trying to really push that. I think he was involved with some guys at Indy, and they were doing pretty good. He wanted me to get involved I was trying to do like the an on-demand app at the time. So But I understood Justin had a passion, and he was vocal, and it seemed like at the time he understood marketing, which I was like, hey, Justin would be kind of a cool person, which I knew he was living in Fort Wayne at the time, going to St. Francis. I'm like, hey, Justin would be a good person to reach out to. Someone that we kind of grew up together in the past, playing travel baseball, sports. We weren't too close in high school as we became teenagers, but prior high school, we played baseball, we played basketball, we played football together, we played all the sports. So I kind of had an understanding of knew who Justin was, knew he was a good guy. And then I was like, hey, that'd be a good opportunity to reach out to him with him being in Fort Wayne, me wanting to move to Fort Wayne and get some type of business partnership there and make it more, make it that more impactful. I thought.
Right. And it was such a, I remember all the times, man. There were so many different times that we all hung out and got together. And obviously I think I kind of got close within CARTT because of yourself. And then Justin has always been like a good friend of mine, but we had definitely gotten closer, I think, for sure after college, and all that kind of stuff. And it was dope because within leading your guys' business into CARTT and kind of getting it built up, it all led us into to the atrium in Fort Wayne and to everybody who's at Start Fort Wayne doing stuff, all the different people who are creative stuff. I had Steve Franks on the podcast a few episodes back. Shout out to Steve Franks. We had so many good conversations, and we talked about just how the beginning of all of that was and just how kind of important of a position that played in everybody's life at the time, not just their business, but I think personal life. Because even for myself, it felt like a very the CARTT. There's a CARTT era in somewhere baked into like 2017 stamped there that I remember so vividly. And that was, the CARTT era included a lot of that, like Steve Franks, Aaron, and fucking, I forget the other fucking dude's name that he was partners with at the time, but like it had a certain era within it. But with the atrium and Start Fort Wayne and just learning about this entire list and laundry of people who are part of these, part of the entrepreneurial community in Fort Wayne, like, how did you kind of get involved with that? And how did that kind of, I guess, change the dynamics of creating CARTT? Because I'm sure it did, for sure.
Absolutely. At that point, it was funny that you mentioned that because this was still towards in the process of me living at home. I remember one Saturday morning, my dad, he started opening up to my, my curiosity, my interest with business and entrepreneurship at my young age. And my dad reads a paper like any classic old white dad that picks up that newspaper, that coffee, first thing Saturday morning, cracks it open. He saw an article that was like I think maybe the first or second page of the business section. And it was talking about this nonprofit, Start Fort Wayne, opening up the atrium in downtown Fort Wayne. And it's going to be a co-working space for young entrepreneurs. And I think my dad read enough to understand that might be something Dylan might be interested in, which, huge shout out to my dad. I remember him giving me the article and I just was like super interested, looked right into it and saw they had like a grand opening event like a week later. And I was like, oh, I have to go to this. And I remember going on Facebook and adding like the president of Start Fort Wayne and then also Steve Franks. I think the two people I added that night, once I discovered that what the atrium was and what its purpose was like Dave Sanders, who was like the president of Start Fort Wayne at that time, and then Steve Franks. I was like, hey, man, a little intro Facebook message. Like, hey, I'm a young, aspiring entrepreneur. And I want to go to this grand opening event and just see what this is all about. And they're all cool and real nice and welcoming and let me come in the whole atmosphere of entrepreneurship. And I remember hitting up Justin. I was like, hey, Justin, we have to go to the atrium downtown. It's this co-working space for entrepreneurs. And that whole week, they had this investor from San Francisco named Paul Singh. I think that was his name. And he was like with a VC group called, I think 500. I think the name of the group was called 500. And they invested in companies like AOL and Yahoo. And so they invested in some big companies. And this Paul guy was one of the investors from that group. And he was in Fort Wayne, like visiting and trying to help Fort Wayne people understand entrepreneurship and what it takes to become like a thriving city, like Silicon Valley, so to speak, or like Nashville, Tennessee, or something like that. So, but right. I remember going to that grand opening event and just like, I'm like, holy crap, there's other people around here. It was pretty busy that night. I think there was like close to 50 to 100 people, and everyone was trying to do their own little business, like full time. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. These people are actually wanting to do their own separate thing outside of their day job make, a living off of and build a business off of. So I thought that was interesting.
Right. Yeah, no, it used to surprise me. It surprised me a little bit how many different businesses were being created and meeting the people behind these businesses. Like, I mean, I don't know if that kind of like was a shock to you a little bit, like just seeing how many jobs, how many entrepreneurs, there are in Fort Wayne. Like I never really thought about it like that when I like ever before graduating from college. I think that's when I kind of started to be like, wow, there's a lot of people actually doing this, and people are really trying to create stuff. And it's cool because, when I spoke to Steve, we talked a lot about the atrium. We talked a lot about CARTT too, and just the whole creation of CARTT. And that was just such a crazy time in life. Just being in that experience. I remember going to that little event or something that the atrium had one time, and I don't know if it was Steve's birthday. I don't think it was Steve's birthday, but no. I just remember we went to some event, me, you, and Justin, seeing all these different people. I remember I felt hella weird because I'm like, I don't know anybody, nor did I really feel like talking to anybody. But like, I was like, whatever. It was a cool time. Like, people seem cool in there, and hopefully those people are still thriving or doing something with their time and life and whatnot. But with the change, though, I think the biggest change of CARTT was obviously like you and Justin splitting up was like a pretty big change within CARTT. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that because that definitely, I feel like that stalled the fuck out of CARTT for a long time. You know what I mean? I think that stalled CARTT. I feel like, there's a lot of different trial and error things that, every business owner, every entrepreneur, every creative, has to deal with in creating something and putting something out there of a certain scale. But especially when you're trying to create something that's like a gig economy style app, that can create jobs for people, contracted jobs for people. It's not necessarily the easiest thing I could imagine. You know what I mean? So, but I want to ask, like, how did that switch? How did that split happen from your perspective?
From my perspective, I would say the biggest thing, like both, I would say, shout out to Justin, still love him, still respect him. Back then, being that young mindset, we went into it with good intentions, but being totally unsure about how business and how even partnerships worked out. Because I know even now I realize, being by myself now and doing this stuff, I realize, partnership is a very, very tricky thing. For
especially
you, especially
when you're business with friends too.
Yes, and Justin and I just weren't aware of that, and we like I said, we walked into it with great intention, great, aspirations. We wanted to build this company. We wanted to make this X number of dollars for ourselves. We wanted to be well known. So yeah, I mean, we had the mindset for it, but we just don't understand, I think, partnerships and how to, have a fine line and have certain boundaries and say no to certain things or say yes to certain things. So I think just being very raw, and also myself, I take responsibility, still having, I'm still having that weak mindset on and off, where I would go, take a trip somewhere for maybe a weekend or a week and be off, smoking weed or drinking, and just wasting time. But I still wanted to do business. I still love business, but my heart all the time wasn't fully invested in it, mixed with other, short-term toxic things, just kind of spilling off and onto the business and onto, Justin and I's friendship and the partnership. It just eventually, maybe he saw it, maybe I never did, or maybe I saw it and just never paid attention to it. But the writing on the wall was clearly approaching, like, hey, hey, Dylan, hey, Justin, especially me, I took it as a, hey, Dylan, this is another wake-up call for you. You're going to have to learn something from this. It's going to burn and hurt. But there's going to be something you can take away from it. There's going to be a lesson. So going through that whole bumpy process and that raw emotions and trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Like I definitely took a lot from it. I've learned a lot. But yeah, I'd say it was a humbling roadblock. But yeah, I would say I definitely learned a crap ton from the situation.
Yeah, because I mean, it was tough. I mean, going in business with friends, man, is tough. I think a point that you were going to make, and I kind of cut you off, was me running SW Films by myself and having to kind of take care of all the marketing. I do like the reason why I don't have a business partner or anything like that right now is, well, one, none of my friends are filmmakers. So, like there's nobody that understands the business besides myself. So that kind of already X out any options of people, or at least an understanding of the film business. Cause like you don't even have to be necessarily in the film business to even know shit about films. There's certain things that you can do, but regardless, yeah. I just wanted to do it myself because it's like, there's just no time. There's no need for it at the moment. Now, of course, eventually I am going to start bringing people in, involved into the business. But as I kind of start to kind of really build out SW Films how I plan on it, there's really no reason for that. But yeah, going in business with friends, man, I've always heard, and I kind of there's a quote I remember hearing in it, and I'm gonna try my best to like remember it or replicate it. But going into business with friends, you're gonna lose one of those things. You're either gonna lose the business or you're gonna lose the friendship.
in my case, it was almost both.
Yeah.
I totally, I would definitely agree with that. I like that.
Like I remember hearing that, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of true. And I mean, for you, man, I mean, I think you got like, it was tough because like y'all had your guys' differences. You guys had like personal things that definitely went on that wasn't like, that didn't help the friendship, and then the business side, there wasn't good things. And
no, I definitely made some bad decisions on the personal friend basis, and crossing boundaries where it was disrespectful to Justin, and we just, like I said, the raw communication was not there at moments, and it spilled over. And it's a sad thing that happened, but
yeah, like, do you regret any of that? Do you regret like that first run of CARTT at all? Do you regret anything of how that kind of went down?
I don't, man. And this brings me to a good point. I feel like most people, they go through their first little setback as they hang their coat ups on that setback. They're like, oh shit, I'm down the dumps right now. I'm not going to recover from this. I'm just going to kind of drag my feet and settle in life where it places me at. But I didn't want to accept that. So I just wanted to learn from it, understand that I fucked up in areas, and try to move past that, and try to try to grow from that, because I didn't want to just to have that first little setback and like, oh, fuck, I just might as well close up shop and stop trying, or stop trying to figure myself out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's never good to do that. It's never good to like, to fail and just be like, I'm not one of the people to where I like, if I fail at this film shit, I'm gonna be like, well, at least I tried. Fuck all that. Like I've always, me personally, I've never liked that. Well, at least I tried situation. No, because if I like, I want my attempt to lead me to continue leading me up the mountain. I want this attempt to lead me to a destination of success, or a destination of happiness, and a destination of gratefulness. And I don't want to just, at least I tried. And maybe maybe the try makes people happy. I don't fucking know. But to me personally, the at least I tried mindset is not a good one, because I feel like people will lead in with it. I'll try, and if I don't, well, at least I tried. At least, fuck all that.
Exactly.
So I get that. I get that as far as like, you don't want to hang your head on it. And I think both you and Justin have realized that and understood that. Because you guys have you have both kind of just like went off into your own ventures of different businesses and different things to do, which is great, and obviously the venture that you stuck with CARTT. But before, when you guys had that kind of initial split, CARTT was still kind of silent for a while. I mean, I guess, like, were you still continuously planning to try to build CARTT up, or were like you kind of also, or were you kind of maybe like at a roadblock a little bit, to where you kind of didn't know where you wanted to go with it? Or are you just trying to find a pivot a little bit?
Yeah, not so much a pivot, but maybe just like a mental roadblock of just like, hey, I need to step away and kind of figure out myself for a little bit, and kind of dive deeper in my own mind and try to figure out some more things about me and who I am. So, I used to take, I used to take like random trips to Colorado, or like or all over the place. Sometimes just solo trips, or maybe with just one other person, just to try to get away and just try to get some type of perspective, and listen to some more podcasts and watch more videos, or read a few more books. But yeah, once Justin and I split up, I kind of took that time to myself for about a year and a half to kind of just to kind of do my own thing and kind of go silent for a little bit, and kind of rebuilt my confidence in a way. Developed a huge passion for fitness, and keeping my mind and my body and that whole process fresh, so I could continue to work on the things I sucked at, and eventually get to the point where I felt I was financially ready to move forward and build out the business, and B, mentally ready to handle the trials, and C, the biggest time, be able to make that time in my life to work on the business and do the things that need to get done.
No, definitely. I think that was just a big. We all have to do that kind of stuff especially when we kind of like have moments like that where it's like, I really got to regroup and figure out what the fuck I got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some people they fall, like we said, they fall off, and they don't want to look themselves in the mirror and realize, okay, hey, I fucked up in this area, but hey, I did great in this area, so why not? Let's just try it again. Like, what can happen? Like, I'm not going to die in the process, so it's just going to be, it's going to eventually lead me to something. So let's just see what's going to happen. So that's why I hate giving up. I hate the whole feeling, just like stop trying, because there was a lot of good that came out of the first initial, early launch of CARTT. We had great traction. So I'm just like, why just hang that up because I was inefficient in a certain area at the time? Why can't I move forward now with it? So
is there a little bit of pride in that? Did you have a little bit of pride in you didn't where you just didn't want to quit because of maybe what other people would have thought of you, not doing CARTT because of maybe
because I poured my passion into CARTT and business, and I wanted to do business at the time. Back when I first launched CARTT, this is another side issue. And I think most people actually go through this, is they want to be known and liked by people. We all go through that. Hey, we want to kind of puff our chest out and act like, hey, I'm running a business. What are you doing? Oh, you just went to school. I'm running a business. We've had these talks. And back then I was in that wrong mindset. And that would flash out sometimes, and that would affect me mentally. Whereas now, I don't I truly don't care what people think about my personal life. I make myself somewhat kind of public on social media and what I like to do and things I'm interested in. But now I don't care what people think. I don't try to build out CARTT or I don't go about my day and trying to please someone or trying to get attention. I just do things I like doing, and I do those every day. That makes me happy. Back then, I was not doing things for myself to make myself truly happy. I was just doing to get some type of approval from either from my close friends group, my parents, and just kind of puff my chest out and have some pride, which that's never a good thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm glad you say that, because that is true. I think definitely back in the day, and I think we all do it though to a point, because we all have every human on this planet has ego. We all have ego, and I allow people on this.
We just want to be respected and liked, by our peers.
Right, for sure. You know what I mean? And everybody has ego, but I would say definitely, man, back in the day, that's something that I noticed. I was like, damn, Dylan really wants to be out here taking these trips, having this money, being known for that shit. And then eventually, I think it has a little bit stopped as far as being flashy like that. Because you used to do that shit a lot. You used to do that shit a lot. I'd be like,
I remember once I dropped out of college, I started taking random road trips, and I got that bug of traveling and just being a bum on the road, so to speak. I used to get through, but I used to like the whole process of just getting out of our environment and just getting out into the world, and just talking to people.
Well, even outside of that, though, outside of the traveling, I think back in the day, you kind of just did it to do it. I mean, Dylan had a fucking Dodge Charger, a big ass blue Dodge. The Dodge Charger had this whole look of rest in peace to that fucking car. But that shit had a whole look of assholishness, douchebag type of qualities, and you can't lie. It definitely
was.
Did.
That car was was basically like strapping like a couple grenades to my waistband. I didn't know about it until they went off.
Yeah, I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, before we really get into, because that conversation that will lead us to a different conversation. I want to get there, but I want to talk about CARTT now. Where CARTT is now. Like, obviously, you launched CARTT a few weeks ago, relaunched it. It's a whole new kind of I guess there's some new things that are kind of baked into it a little bit. And I kind of want you to explain a little bit about, I guess, some of the changes that you've implemented into CARTT for this run of CARTT, and hopefully this consistent and continuous run of CARTT.
Yeah, so I spent, because I was actually going to relaunch CARTT back in 2019, but because I was actually, with my full-time job, I was paying a developer locally in Fort Wayne to develop the technology, like develop a lot of back-end processes that Justin and I were doing manually, that I knew that, if could have been, if someone tech-oriented could figure these things out, it could save me a heck of a lot of time and be able to build the business out more efficient. So I was actually paying someone to have this done back in late 2019. And then I, kind of burned through my cash at that time. And then boom, here came coronavirus in like early February of 2020. When I was trying to launch, CARTT back in like October, November 2019, but the cash shortage kind of stalled that. And then before I could really get things kind of, moving again, coronavirus happened in February of 2020. So I'm like, crap, I can't really, I was thinking about launching CARTT in 2020, but I'm like, at that point, I kind of just like stopped working all together, because I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to come out of COVID. What's really going to happen. I saw businesses getting affected by it, people shutting down. I'm like, all right, thankfully I didn't relaunch CARTT, because this would have been a shit show to navigate all the laws and the ever-changing mandates are going around state to state. So I kind of put CARTT in the back burners in 2020, but I still had everything kind of prepped out in the back end that I wanted to do and things I was planning. Luckily, 2021 was a lot better than last year. So I was able to kind of continue forking out the cash for the development of the back end and kind of planning, everything that needed to get done to do a proper launch or a soft launch, and focus on a few, niche areas. Like right now with CARTT being relaunched, we're just focusing on storage moves, partnered with Fort Wayne Storage at all their locations. And then working with like big realtors in Fort Wayne with, because like Fort Wayne right now is one of the top 3 housing markets in Fort Wayne. So we get a lot of leads on people moving to Fort Wayne or moving homes and need their stuff picked up. Let's say they rent a pod, the pod gets dropped off at their old house. We have movers that will go there, load it up, and then the pod will get dropped off in the new destination maybe a week later, and we'll send movers out there, they'll load it. So yeah, just focus on the realtor side and the storage units. That's kind of CARTT's niche right now, and it's going good.
That's what's up, man. And like, that's dope how it kind of has, finally like relaunched. And like I told you before, man, when I sent the message to you, I'm proud of you that you finally got it back up and going, and just, just to go on this run again is nice. And I know it feels good. And I know it's something that you're happy about and excited about.
I would say this is like for the first time ever, like just saying young, because I'm still young in business. I'm still like, hey, I'm 26 years old. I'm still very young. But this is the first time where I've been financially set, stable. I'm able to move forward and progress, and I don't care what anyone else thinks what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. I like it. I love it. So I feel very clear-headed more than I've ever been in my life. I'm settled down in my life. So
for sure. I'm gonna ask questions that are gonna lead a lot to like I said, our topic later on, more just dealing with like the validation aspect that we talked about. But specifically, like, one question I have is, what made you not want to get another business partner for CARTT?
Just because I knew I could do the things that need to get done by myself, or at least outsource some things and get it done. I didn't necessarily need a business partner to, do a certain area of the business as of right now. So that's why I just decided after Justin that, hey, at this moment, I really don't need somebody next to me as a business partner, but maybe just someone to kind of help me in certain areas, necessarily not be on the business as a partner, but, just help out these certain areas of the business, where it's needed.
For sure. Definitely. And then my other question is kind of leading back to before CARTT, or not before CARTT, but I think during the first initial run of CARTT is did you kind of look at it and I think you probably did because I remember we spoke about this actually like a while back, or not a while back, but kind of recently when I was home or something. But we talked about how at first CARTT you wanted money. Like you just wanted the money, not just wanted it, but like that was always like the maybe leading and motivating factor was like the idea of how much money this can bring a person, and maybe not thinking about how much it could help the community, how much it could help just the case for entrepreneurs in Fort Wayne as far as like what's being built by people out there. Like, would you kind of say that was the mentality a little bit back then? Is like you kind of thought like, man, this is gonna be like a cash cow for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people do that. I mean, they get started off in the business, they think about the money, and like, respectfully, everyone's going to do that because you got to make a living off of it.
Of course.
But you also start thinking about like the things you can do with the extra money, the things you can buy for yourself. So yeah, there was a selfish factor that kind of started off with that in the initial launch of the CARTT. So yeah, greed. I think greed set in with myself, and that was another toxic trait that kind of slowly developed at a certain state.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good now that this run, of course, is nothing like it. I think it kind of helps when you realize that when you're by yourself running something that you have to hold yourself accountable completely. You know what I mean? Like you have to hold yourself accountable.
It's you versus you. It's you versus you every day. And like that's why like I told you about, I go on my runs at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's like it allows me to like deconstruct my mind and hold myself to like the pit. Yeah, like because it's either do it or don't do it. And if you don't do it, you're not going to get the things you want. So
for sure,
every day
I would say, and this is my opinion as a filmmaker and as a creative in that field and industry, and just when I look at marketing, right, that's the one thing I always say, yo, Dylan, this should need to be marketed more. I think that's the one thing that like, I feel like would be so dope to have on CARTT is just having someone who would be responsible for at least allocating how to market things, because I say it to every single creative and every single entrepreneur that comes my way. And I think it's a conversation that has to come up, is that marketing your business is like one of the most important fucking things in the entirety of your business, because social media is, love it or hate it, social media is basically this is how a lot of our shit gets marketed now. That's how a lot of businesses get marketed. And since I've been on sets of these, gigantic ass tech companies, and I see how we're creating shit for their marketing, I'm like, and in different aspects too. Sometimes we're creating shit for in-house stuff only that the public won't see, or we're creating something for obviously for the public to see about a certain product or about a certain service or whatnot. And all of that stuff helps the case of the brand and the business that you're creating. And my question is, why the fuck haven't you had more marketing for CARTT? Like, we need to do a video. I keep saying that we need to do
a video, but like right now, like with CARTT, it's not a simple thing for like you're just like a one-sided marketplace, because there's like you have like on my end, like right now, like I'm in the very final process, like we talked about last week, with like onboarding because like right now I have 36 applicants for drivers in Fort Wayne. I just onboarded a dozen of them, still have to onboard another dozen more. But yeah, there's a lot of like back end stuff that still has to kind of get done before I can actually go out and like market to like the public, and open the floodgates, because I have to build partnerships with certain like realtors, keeping the Fort Wayne storage locations up to date with stuff, make sure the processes are involved. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of checks and balances on the back end that are still kind of being developed.
True.
Before like, a bunch of posts and, a full-blown marketing plan can be deployed.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. So I guess you're saying like you're still in this introduction process.
Yeah. Introduction process. Yeah. So like blessed with like my corporate sales job, I'm into a lot of customers' homes. I speak to a lot of people, and I'm always carrying my business cards with me. So I actually pick up quite a bit of leads like that in the back end. So the word of mouth goes by pretty nice and quick with what I'm doing right now. But yeah, I'm still in those intro phases right now where I'm just, getting the gears turning, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. Well, I agree with that, but I'll give some more kickback. Even though that is amazing and I think that's great, I still feel like there has to be a sort of way to market, not necessarily step by step everything that's going on within CARTT, but still to give more awareness. Like, I think the fact of like, if I was in your position, if I was the owner of CARTT and I had, I guess the idea of marketing that I have is I think to myself, especially depending on just the weight that the company carries, it's like, okay, I've taken like however long CARTT took off, like maybe like a few months or some shit or a year or however long that time was. And thinking about, okay, because even back then when CARTT initially came out, there wasn't too much marketing. Like we had shot a few videos, but it was just both you and Justin talking at the camera. And like, I love y'all, but those videos were so fucking boring. They were boring to do.
Yeah, they're basic, man.
I mean, you guys were, it was fun, like those moments filming. We had a lot of cracking up about. I had a lot of crack, but we had a lot of funny times during that time. But like, I'm just like, that's not enough. Like, I feel like what I would love is just maybe like, obviously the talk about the different applicants, maybe just like, I don't know, marketing of showing maybe more of how those people are out there. And of course, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your business, but as the marketing side of shit, I love that's one thing. Like I've told you, I've had ideas, commercial wise ideas for CARTT for such a fucking long time. Like I'm telling you, you need some cinematic excellence with your shit.
I am getting ready for it, man. Like
you have excellence. You have the excellence in your business, but you don't have the cinematic excellence yet. And I'm telling you, your best friend is here. I'm here to help.
That's why I have you, man. That's why I have you.
So, like that's something that is super important. But I mean, I guess that kind of leads into a quick, brief conversation about social media. I mean, like, because social media is a huge part of everyone's fucking lives. Like whether you're not on social media, whether you are, like, there's something that social media is always going to be a thing that's kind of affects certain people. And I think, with obviously running CARTT and yourself, obviously having your own page and just like your own life and shit. I mean, you have posted so much more now on social media. I don't think you ever used to post as much before. I feel like like I said, I remember saying to all of y'all don't really be taught. I was the only friend in the friend group who would express himself like publicly and openly
on social media.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You weren't shy with it.
Not shy with it, because I feel like I don't know. I just feel like, especially because my brand is me, and I feel like that's just, what I'm trying to sell is, I feel like I have to be, express myself a certain way. But I mean, for yourself, you definitely been expressing yourself more on social media. I guess how has that kind of changed? How are you adding that change to your life, like expressing yourself a little bit more on social media?
Yeah, just showing people, like, and just kind of showing my life, like the things I like to do consistently, like getting up, like like I've told you in the past year and a half, like doing a couple triathlons and getting involved with running. Running was a cool thing I discovered back when COVID first started, because I would get up in the mornings, and this is when I could barely run a mile, but like just doing something very hard to start your day was like groundbreaking for me. Like holy shit, like it made my day a lot better. I could do things 10 times quicker. But yeah, I started to just really kind of show myself recently on social media about things I'm doing consistently, things I'm liking, and just showing kind of my passions of what I do, kind of like what you do.
Do you think like more happiness has kind of led you to post more about more stuff on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, like, relaunching CARTT, a month ago, I've been like, I say throughout most of this year, I've been approaching like that. Not, I wouldn't say that final stage, but like that true, like, inner happiness, inner self-respect, like, understanding of who I am, what I want to be, where I want to go, and just having I think at this point, like, ultimate awareness for, a 26-year-old in life. So yeah, I feel comfortable. I feel very comfortable in my own skin, my own shoes, about what I'm doing right now, and being open with it and not caring. I think the biggest thing is I don't care what someone thinks anymore. So
right, because I think that came to my mind. Just like I feel like for a lot of folks, I mean, when people are happy, people are going to start to be more open on social media. And I feel obviously it's tough when people. It's been rare occasions sometimes where even when I feel like shit, I've posted stuff on social media.
Yep.
I like to express myself in all types of ways, kind of. At least now it's changed now more that I've moved. But I want to go into the conversation now about validation and just yourself and creating maybe some enemies along the way and all that. I posted a Facebook comment, or excuse me, a Facebook status. I posted this that I heard from the Mike Tyson podcast with Joey Badass, which is a great podcast, by the way. He said that there was a book that he's got this quote from, but he said a man who is friends with everyone is an enemy to himself.
Yep.
And I loved that quote. It really stuck out to me because it kind of reminded me of maybe how the ways that I've kind of have moved and how I've thought about certain situations and just, wanting to not always necessarily involve myself with every single person or trying to, be involve myself with every single person. For yourself, I feel like that's definitely applied. I feel like that's applied to definitely to all of our group a little bit, but for you specifically, would you say, Dylan, and be honest, would you say that you have created some enemies in the past and since college, since I came back home?
Oh, absolutely, man. When you're young, when you're young, you're just naive and you're just like, you're not grounded really in anything. Of course, you're gonna fuck up stuff. You're gonna fuck up relationships. You're gonna fuck over some people, and you're gonna make mistakes. So yeah, I mean, everyone has their breadcrumbs, and like I always like this like theory in this thing I read in this book about, if you leave enough breadcrumbs in your past, you'll eventually get to the point where you're looking over your shoulder constantly, and the world gets really, really small. So I've had those moments in my life, but now, I've been able to repair some things. Some stuff, I'm just going to leave, it's not worth my time or, to do so anymore. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say my past life, yeah, like anyone, like you're definitely going to fuck some people over and you're going to mess some relationships up. But I guess, once, hopefully if you do learn from it and realize the issue you had, and if you're able to fix the problem, maybe you can go back and reconcile that relationship or, leave it be where it's at. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I confess, man, like, yeah, there's always a few moments when I wake up in my morning, I'm kind of like dissecting my mindset for the day. I'm like, you know what? There's still that person or a couple people I still need to reach out to just say, hey, back then I was not, mentally aware of what I was doing. I effed up in this spot. So, but yeah, I mean, there that has happened for sure, big time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's definitely like certain relationships that aren't always needed to be mended. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I get that part of it. Like, there's people who I had to cut off who I'm like, I don't really need to mend this relationship because, especially if the relationship doesn't serve me or I don't serve the relationship. So there's sometimes no reason to go back and heal that. I think the healing comes by cutting the shit off sometimes, but like you said, being young and maybe just, kind of having a little bit of ego and arrogance and ignorance play into a lot of these moments. Sometimes that's when you realize, like, okay, I really truly fucked up there. Maybe I should try to tie up some loose ends, for the lack of a better word. Because I mean, would you say, man, and be real too, another be real moment. If you had to look back to some of like the things that maybe that you've like maybe done personally, whether it was to be funny or whatever to folks, would you sometimes look and be like, damn, sometimes I have been a piece of shit to people in certain
big time. Like I
feel that way too. I feel that way, not about you, but I feel that way about myself of how I've dealt people. Like even recently, there's certain moments where I'm like, damn, I was kind of a fucking piece of shit for that. Like but I like really truly hurt somebody,
You've always been blunt. Like we all know that. Like we do, like you're pretty straightforward with most people. So like, yeah, I give you the pass with some people you've dealt. But, But yeah, with me, I mean, there's some time, like I said, there's certain moments I look back in my life, I'm like, Dylan, like you're a complete fucking idiot, and you really fucked up there, And back then, you just didn't realize you weren't man enough to admit to it and come forth with it. And it caused some, some slight error in your life. So yeah, there's some different times I look back and like, man, that's terrible. Like, that's why.
Well, because now, now you've completely, I can tell, I will say this, I'm gonna give you your flowers again. One thing I can tell is that you have completely like changed in terms of how you carry yourself solo, how you want to be, like your peace of mind, I think is what you completely changed. I see that happen. I see how fitness has been a huge part of your life, and I want to kind of break off into that. But I think the fitness aspect of your life has kind of came full circle, because like football, I feel like led into like you wanting to, like after football, like I'm kind of the same way, where it's like after football, even though I'm not playing the sport anymore and I still love football, and like there's still a passion of me that wants to like get out there and fucking tackle somebody. It's like there's still a passion of like, damn, I want to make sure that I feel as healthy as I did when I was in those moments, or feel as strong as I did, or stronger, when I was in those moments. Like there's still that passion of it. And I see fitness has definitely seemed to be a big peace of mind thing for you. Like you're talking about, you getting up and running 5 a.m. and doing, like, you've done marathons, you've done like a triathlon, you did a couple different events. And I want to talk about those too. But like those are huge moments. I've seen like that. There's a big change in your life, and I commend you for doing that, because it's a true commend. Because look, when we were playing football, I remember the times, man, doing the conditioning.
The conditioning, bro, terrible.
Bro, you'd be sweating hard, bro. Me and Skylar Winter, shout out to Skylar Winter. Skylar's like a much bigger weight guy than like I am or you. We would be whooping your ass in all those conditioning.
Yep.
and now it's like
you're dragging ass.
Yeah, now you're over here doing triathlons, man, and you're doing something that, like, me personally, like, I like you did I think the triathlons where you have to bike and swim and run, right? Is that the one I'm thinking?
Yes, swim, bike, run, and then like the half marathon ran in Austin, Texas, and things like that. But yeah, man, it's just crazy endurance stuff that I was getting addicted to.
Crazy, and it's like, yo, I can't fucking swim, so like I would not want to do that. And even the biking and running, like I could definitely run and bike for a certain amount of miles. Like I've been getting so much into hiking to where like my endurance is getting stronger. When I did squats last night, it reminded me of what kind of endurance I need to have, because I was doing a lot of reps during squats and like a decent amount of weight and shit. And I'm like, damn, this is actually a lot more of endurance shit than I thought. But anyway, like that's crazy. But how did fitness, man? What made you like? Because you really like encompass that into your peace of mind and your mindfulness. How did you put that a part of your life?
Yeah, I've kind of centered when I went to like my 2019, I'd say like later part of 2019, when I went like fully committed. I'd even say early 2020. Like, I went to like I wanted to fully wrap my mind and body around something that was very grounded and structured, something I could take very personal, and that was like that's my personal health and fitness. Something so easily that people always forget to do is take care of themselves, and that means mentally, but also physically. And I like I said, always through training, through football and getting ready for college, I loved going through that hard workouts, the feeling afterwards. But yeah, I found myself, my true self, my true happiness, going through like hard workouts, discovering things. Because I have me, I have an addictive personality. So once I kind of discovered things I had slight interest in, I start doing more and more and more. And then fitness became that thing where I continue to do research, how to, better approach my body, my mind, and it's paid off. It's allowed me to enter a deep peace of mind, and I love doing it. So it's like, it's always there for me. It's an old saying, when you go in the gym, you can't cheat anything, because it's going to show. Like, you can't, 135 pounds is 135 pounds. You can't cheat that. So you can't definitely cheat. I mean, if you cheat a workout, you're just cheating yourself. So, I mean, it's kind of like you versus you. It's truly you versus you. So you kind of get to have that mental battle. And I like, besides running, running is a very meditative thing, but when I'm lifting weights, for example, I kind of get to pull my demons out of the closet and face them head on, and kind of, make peace with them every workout.
Right.
So
no, definitely. Yeah. Man. I feel that as I've been getting back in the gym, because, I haven't, during the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, I like stopped working out like in the gym wise, you know, and then I was basically hiking a lot, which hiking really became this meditative type of situation for me. And I haven't hiked. I hiked last week, which was cool. It was a nice hike around my new areas. Like that's one of the reasons I haven't hiked as much because I'm still trying to acclimate myself in this whole new town and whole new city and shit, you know, that I moved and whatnot. But now that I've been back working out, I'm like, yeah, no, I feel it. I feel definitely that kind of moment of, like you said, a mental battle. I feel that. That's what it felt
Yeah,
like doing.
It makes you feel better about yourself, man.
Yeah.
It makes you like want to approach your business more enthusiasm. Makes you want to reach out to people. It makes you want to do more. So yeah, I mean, like I feel like fitness, and especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a business, or hey, you're working a full-time job trying to build a business, you have to take care of your physical health because you're gonna hit a block. I mean, you're gonna hit like a dead end where you're mentally not going to be able to get through it. But if you're going through hard workouts, you're pushing yourself in the gym, you're going on long runs, you're doing some type of hard activity that's going to allow you to like push through, a short-term thing in business or in life. Mm-hmm. So
no, 1000%. And shit, man, like you make a really good point there, is just as far as like, like being physically fit while you're still doing all this shit for your work. Like, I mean, that's true, man. I would say that just as far as anybody, but I mean, even for filmmakers too, I'm like, yo, filmmakers are dealing with so much, stress with these long ass hours and these crazy ass schedules and stuff. And it's like keeping yourself physically fit is important. So I'm like, yeah, that's why I try to make sure I stay strong. I stay, trying to eat good and all that kind of shit, which is still a very tough thing. Diet is always a tougher thing than I think than actually being in the gym, but that's such a huge part of it. But with the business aspect of it though, because of your love of fitness though, I mean, what I guess why never have you thought or created, I guess, like a business in that fitness world? Have you ever thought about that? Or is fitness simply it's more of like a personal hobby, personal thing that you want to keep close to you outside of the business, outside of work?
Yeah, it's my personal like tool. Like it's like, everyone kind of has like their tool they use to get their point across of who they are or what their mindset is. And for me, it's fitness because I have like, I consistent love for it, and I can go through, those hard workouts and I love the feeling of what it does for my mind, my personal mindset. So yeah, it's my personal tool that, like, hey, Dylan Belcher, this is his thing that I use to get through stuff in life. And it recenters me. Like man, you could have a shit fucking day and go through a hard workout for an hour and bust ass and leave walking out of the gym feeling like a whole different person. Like you can go, you can get through that mental roadblock you had. So for me, it's just a personal tool as of right now. I do get reached out by, people that want to connect. I've been like recently connected with like local Fort Wayne fitness people. And just, because as I make myself more well known out there, which I'm trying to do, I'm trying to connect with people too, which is a big thing. So I feel like anyone that's consistently, treating themselves right physically and mentally, you're going to eventually connect with the right people. So
for sure,
I'm just trying to throw good energy out there, and I know people consistently watch my stuff, hopefully that influences them to take care of themselves, or maybe get through a mental roadblock. So it helps me. I mean, I'd say fitness has got me through depression. It's got me through mental roadblocks. It's definitely helped me. So it's a very, very, I'd say for me, myself, is a very passionate tool that I can use.
Yeah. Do you think it would change if you tried to add a business element to that, or try to add some sort of business to your fitness or to fitness? Do you think it would change how you feel about that?
I'm not sure. Like I business or no business involved in fitness stuff, I would do. I would still treat it. I would do now. I work out 2 times a day, almost 6 days a week, where I'm running, lifting weights in the evening, and I do that all free. I make no money off of it. I'm spending money to actually do all that stuff monthly, like with massages and running stuff and weightlifting stuff and supplements and food. But yeah, I do all that out of love for it. So, but yeah, if anything business wise were to come out of it, I'd be open for it. I really would be. But as of right now, I'm just doing what I'm doing with it.
Have you because back to, I guess, to the idea of marketing and promoting, like you obviously put a lot of like your fitness journey, especially recently in the past, I would say year or two, on like online on social media. Do you think that maybe the more, because I'm sure, like you said, you've had people hit you up about fitness and maybe wanting to help them, or giving them some sort of tip about how to get themselves a little bit more healthier and physically fit. Do you think that the way you've marketed yourself out there in this kind of, doing the triathlon and talking about your runs and, hitting different PRs and all this kind of stuff, do you think that people kind of may get it confused a little bit, like thinking how like, oh shit, okay, this dude must be like a personal trainer, and not realize like, oh shit, this dude actually runs a business called CARTT. Like, do you think there's a confusion there a little bit sometimes?
I'm not sure. Like some people, they use their personal brand to beef up their business. Like like you're kind of like a utility knife, or blade for your company and for you. Whereas with me, I kind of keep my business separate on my personal life. I kind of like, I draw a line in it right now. So I'm not sure, that's kind of a personal preference for each individual, how they perceive me, someone who doesn't know me or someone who does know me. But yeah, I just, I have my business I want to run full time, but also have this side personal life on my social media where I just express like my personal hobbies, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So,
For
but yeah,
sure.
I have a line that definitely dissects the two things in my life for sure.
Nah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because fitness is such a huge part of, it's growing much more of a huge thing in your life. And I know that you're planning on doing a marathon, right? You're doing a marathon
Yeah.
like pretty soon.
Yep. In Austin, Texas, with BPN on January 29th. So
Shit.
it's gonna be
That's
on.
gonna
It's gonna
be
be on.
dope.
It's gonna be on a really cool. It's only 175 runners. It's race sold out in under a minute and 56 seconds exactly. So yeah, we're
Crazy.
going to go out there with a small group of people and be with like, if you ever get a chance, watch Nick Bear and Bear Performance Nutrition based out of Austin, Texas. They're like a rising company right now, and they're doing a lot of cool things. I kind of gravitated towards their people and their mindset and culture. So, but yeah, I'm just like going down there on a big Texas ranch and just run this marathon with like those group of guys and those people.
For sure. That should be fun, man. That should definitely be a fun time going back to Austin. One thing I want to ask, and we've talked about it so many times, but like I want to ask, because you mentioned it too earlier about like, taking a chance to like escape a little bit, not really escape, but just taking the time to, I guess, expand your perspectives in different places, like going to Colorado or going to Kentucky, coming out here and all this kind of shit. Like what, I guess my question is like, what is your thoughts about leaving Indiana to like eventually live somewhere else? Like we've talked about that a lot. Like Brandon Spalding was the first one to really take that leap of like leaving. He lives in he lives in Missouri and St. Louis. That was a huge thing. I remember dropping his ass off at the bus station. Shout out to my guy, man. I'm so proud of him. And then
absolutely, man.
And then Akers too. Akers as well, man. Akers fucking moved out to Lafayette, never even been there, and is a general manager of the Planet Fitness. Like even him, like that's a huge thing. And then of course I moved 2,000 some miles away from home, all the way to California. Like I guess have you kind of thought about what your next, if that's in your mind and in your thought, have you ever thought about like I guess where you could see yourself at next?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, if the opportunity came about, I would definitely be open to moving out of Fort Wayne. And I would, if something came up now and it was a good enough thing that I could attack and approach, I would for sure move out of Fort Wayne in a heartbeat, or relocate somewhere short term or long term. So yeah, like Texas would be cool. Like I love Texas. Going there a few times already. Like I could definitely see myself, around like the city of Austin, for example. I feel like that city is like definitely on my top list of cities I could move to.
And it's growing. It's a growing city.
It's growing, man. And Austin's like one of those cities where people will tell you it's like it's a city that only likes people who truly be themselves. So you can't don't really fake it. Yeah, just kind of be who you are and what you want to do, and people kind of gravitate around that.
Yeah, no, it's growing for sure. It's definitely a growing place. Shout out to my boy Taylor Fredericks, who's out there, a great filmmaker. But when I had my homegirl from Detroit, Abriana Walton. Shout out Bree from the D. We talked a lot about how her love for Detroit is, and how like she's kind of content in being there right now, and you know how basically if she moves, it's going to be like the work will take her. You know, if that'll be her thing. I mean, does that kind of the same thing for you? Like, do you think if it's like a work situation, something for your business, something a financial or business opportunity that you think that'll eventually probably move you out of Indiana?
Yeah, I think that like in my life, I think that might happen. Like it definitely comes to my mind a lot more often now as I age. But yeah, I could see that easily happening for sure. You know, with how fast the world's changing, all these opportunities that sprout out of social media, and someone happens to find you, and you connect with someone. A move like that can happen pretty quickly. So even like just now mentioning in the podcast, falling in love with Kim from Germany.
Oh yeah, hold on, we're gonna talk about that.
Big shot. By the way, I got like 5 minutes, my MacBook shuts down. So
yeah, of course, I already know because your ass sitting in the dark trying to be cool and shit.
But but yeah, like I would move away. Like if Kim wanted to seriously move back to Europe, there's an opportunity out there for me. I would take advantage of it. I would do so.
Will you be prepared to get the vaccine?
No. No. Have you heard of fake vaccine card? I could get one of those propped up.
Oh goodness! Look, they're gonna kill you in the comments or wherever the fuck.
Oh my god!
But hey, that's all him right there. That's all him.
Yeah.
No,
we'll figure it out.
Anyway, since your shit is dying, of course it is. But like, I want to talk about that with Kim, man. Just like you're in a relationship now. Shout out to Kim, an amazing, amazing woman. I'm gonna give you flowers again. Kim is I'm gonna give Kim some flowers. Actually, fuck you. I'm gonna give Kim some flowers, not like actual flowers, but I'm gonna give her some appreciation right now. Is that she is such a very nice person, and I can tell that she's made a very big change for you. And I want to talk about how has she affected you, like to change, like because now you, like I said, there's a different bit of peace of mind and mindfulness there, and I can tell that Kim is a huge part of that. Like, how did that become for you to have that change because of her?
Yeah, man, I would say like last long-term relationship before Kim was like, shout out to Haley Stout, like high school girlfriend. Like,
yeah, shout out.
Yeah, like no disrespect, all love there. But yeah, I just say like that almost 5 years of like not. I mean, of course, like meeting girls, out in the bar, or like different areas we travel to. Like we obviously had those interactions in between, you and I and other friends with girls. But like once I kind of started settling down to who I was and things I like doing, and started, becoming and expressing who I really am at the end of the day as a young 20-year-old in my early 20s, here comes Kim last year in my life. And I was kind of like, I was just enough mentally ready to be aware of who she was as a person. And thank God I was aware just enough to take her in with open arms and start growing and working along with her to realize, like seriously realize, like, hey, this is a girl that, kind of once in a lifetime situation, don't fuck it up. Here it is, here's your opportunity. So I viewed Kim as an opportunity and someone I felt deeply in love with. So, and here it is. Like, we've been together for a year almost, just about. And it's like, I look back and like, time's flying by. And I'm just like, wow, this it's impacted my life because I've become a lot less selfish. I care more. My communication's a hell of a lot better with myself or family and friends. And yeah, it's just impacted me. There's like no negatives there. It's all positive. I can't really look back and draw a red flag out of the situation of meeting Kim. It's been nothing but positive. So
yeah,
just
that's great, man.
Keep moving forward with it.
Keep moving forward with that for sure, man. Because I mean, she definitely seems like a shining light for you. And listen to her. Listen to her. Don't argue with her about dumbass shit that you like sometimes. No, listen to her. She's a very smart person, and I feel like she only wants the best for you. She rides for you. One of the things that I seen that I fucking loved, and I forgot to tell you this, you posted it. It was I think she was like, you were at the gym and she was in the gym like reading on the ground or something.
Yeah.
she was like just in. I don't know if she was working out, but she was just in there because you were working out. And you guys were having time. That's hella cool. Like that love, man, is amazing. And me and you have always talked about trying to find the woman of our dreams and just like really building that love and building that relationship and that like a family damn near. Like it's that's amazing.
It's powerful. It's powerful, man. Like I appreciate that because like once you find that person, like and that person understands it too, like it's powerful. Like you almost like look that person up in the eyes at night when you're falling asleep and you get teary-eyed because it's like it's so much passion. You can literally feel the energy like rub off, and it's like it's an awesome feeling, man. It takes a big stress off my back and it allows me to approach my goals of like business or fitness a lot more open and a lot more dedicated towards it.
No, 1000%, man. I guess my last thing, since your fucking shit's about to die, we might have to run this back for a part 2 eventually.
Part 2, but hey, we've been up for 2 hours.
Just about. One thing I want to say, man, is what advice or motivational, inspirational type of shit would you leave people with, like, to take for people who are trying to kind of get in your similar situation as far as like building a business and just completely changing themselves with fitness or whatever it may be?
Yeah, my biggest advice, not to get like long-winded with it, but is don't give up. You're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna fuck shit up at from the beginning. You'll probably still will fuck up more and more and more, but just continue to keep trying, keep doing. Don't be worried about some end result. Don't be worried about what other people think, which is one of the biggest things. Just be open to new things and just do things solo. I think that's the biggest thing. Just like have the guts and courage to go out and just do things by yourself. And if people want to look at that weird or talk about it or unfollow you, be okay with that. That's who cares. Just do what you think is cool. Have fun doing it. And if you want to make a business out of it or some type of hobby out of it, move forward with that. And just try to, along the way, figure out the good stuff you're doing, keep on doing that. And, eventually you'll look back and create a life, that you wanted. So I think overall, I think success, I used to view success as like things and possessions that you had to get, like a car or a house or a family. But I think honestly, man, success is just openly, like being willing to daily move forward with something you want to do. I feel like if you're pursuing something daily that you want to do and you have the means to do so, I feel like that's success in its own terms. Like you're out doing film stuff. Like people look at you from your hometown and they're like, hey, that's successful. That's success. You could hang your hat up on that. You could hang your hat and be like, all right, I'm Stefan and I'm doing this film stuff. I'm successful now. But you don't. But people back home away from your level view that as pure success. I don't view what I'm doing as successful, not even close to it, but I'm pursuing what I like doing. So I'm sure people look at me from the other end of the stick and be like, hey, he's having a successful early life. So
yeah,
there's so many ways to view it. People need to stop looking at a one-sided way because there's no right or wrong to it. I mean, there is a wrong way of doing things, but there's just find what you like doing and just be good at it and be a good person and be open to new things. And that's the biggest thing, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I love it. One thing that Steve Frank said in his interview is there's no wrong way to do it except if you don't do it. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's 1000%.
Love Steve, man. Steve's always on it.
Always on it. Dylan, if you could just list whatever your social medias are so people can figure out where to follow your excellence and see the cool shit that you're doing.
Yeah, I'll just be simple with it, man. People can follow my public Instagram page, Dylan B, DYLAN B 1454, or they can view my company, carttdelivery.com. So
yeah,
that's CARTT, CARTT.
Awesome. And I just want to say, man, thank you once again, brother. You already know I love you to death. You are my motherfucking guy for life. And I appreciate you, man. And you're amazing. You're my homie. I love you, dog. For everyone who's listening and watching, please remember to subscribe to SW Films. Subscribe to the Excellent Podcast. And I will see you guys on the very next episode.